Well, just a minute. I may like to make one announcement. Professor Rajat Agarwal is an alumni of FMS Gurukul Kangri, and then he taught at Faculty of Engineering and Technology for many years, and then he joined IIT. So we are proud of Professor Rajat Agarwal. Thank you. Please continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. My warm regards to our eminent speaker, guests, and all participants from all over the country. I strongly believe that in these 4 days of our FTP, you all must have learned lots of leadership skills and qualities. Actually, what I believe that there is a leader in all of us, and this FTP will give spark to the fire of leadership within us. आज समय है अपने अंदर के नेतृत्व को जगाने का, दुनिया को सही राह दिखाने का, सही कार्य करने और करवाने का। तो उठो साथियों, चलो आगे बढ़ो, सफलता की ऊंचाइयां तुम्हें बुला रही हैं। अपने अनुगामियों का हाथ थामो और ले चलो सबको सफलता के शिखर की ओर। It is the time to awaken your inner leadership and do the right and show the world the right path. Get up, guys. Let's go ahead. The heights of success are calling us. Hold the hands of your followers and take them all towards the pinnacle of success. With this, I would like to introduce the chairperson of our session, Dr. Ramesh Kumar. Dr. Ramesh Kumar is serving as professor in Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research and having a rich teaching experience of 18 years. We welcome you, sir, to proceed the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Krishna Gupta. Once again, I invite all the participants across the nation. Definitely, from morning itself, you are getting more information, you are enriching yourself. I'm audible?
Your voice is not that much audible, sir.
Yeah, are you getting clear now?
It's clear, but somewhat the volume is low, sir.
One second. Now it is clear?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Great. Thanks again. Once again, I invite all the participants across the nation. Due to this pandemic, we are doing this online. We are understanding your energy and enthusiasm towards enriching yourself in the administration of education industry. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Manjula for Pratana. Om Namah Shivaya. Please over to Manjula for doing
Thank you,
this.
sir.
Wedding.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. The mantra goes like this. Indram Vishwa Avivrudhant Samudra Vechasam Kiraha Rathitamam Rathinam Vajanam Satpati Patim. The translation is, all words increased Indra, oceanically vast, the most charioteer of charioteers, lord of plenitude, master of beings. The relevance to the leadership is the one who is very proficient in controlling and directing the employees, like the one who is proficient in running chariots. Here, we can use proficiency related to the proficiency in using the internet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Manjula, for your pratana.
Thank
and
you.
now I invite all our participants towards the discussion of that what are the proficient qualities needed nowadays for a leader. I invite every one of you to make your active participation towards this. Please, what is the most important qualities are required for the leader? Please. Yeah, I think Monicum is said good communication skill, and Joita Shah in adaptive and decision making. Of course, adaptive, most important skill is decision making towards the vision. Yeah, great. Any other? Please. Definitely no, every leader, yeah, and empathy, integrity, decision making and problem solving. Mohana
Sir,
Prasad.
morally correct, moral values, strong moral values.
Yes, of course.
Because if morally leader is weak, then every follower will go in wrong track. All efforts will be wasted.
Yes, yes. In our tradition, we are giving more importance to the moral value. Of course, the leader should have the uh, moral ethics, moral values too. Right. Then,
Strong technical skills, sir. Whichsoever field, trade the leader is following, he or she should be master of that trade.
of course.
So that followers do not have to look here and there for any guidance or consultation.
Great, great, great. Ethics, vision, empathy, and ability, and encouraging the protecting the follower who are doing a good job. Yeah, rewards. People has to rewards. Everybody expect that. Yes. Appreciating. Yeah, great. Appreciating the opportunities.
Sir, conceptual skills to see the bigger picture of the matter, to see it
Great.
in totality.
Yeah.
Conceptual skills are very important for a leader to have.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Then
Listen other views, sir.
listen. I'm sorry.
Other views. The team members' views.
Yes, 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 yes. They have to listen. They have to listen. Listen and passion. Yeah, most important. Active listening and critical thinking skill. Yeah, Zaina
Good
Papas,
afternoon,
right?
sir. Sir, this is Dr. Sheetal Vekaria here. Sir, active participation is also important.
Of course, yeah. Leader should be a player, right? Leader should be a player.
So
Correct.
leaders should have strong diagnostic skills, ability to analyze, examine, come up with the solution, strong diagnostic skills.
Diagnostic skill. Yes, of course. Great, great, great again. Focus on ability of analysis. Yes, correct. Sarita Numula. Yeah, correct. Any other? Definitely no. The thing in the leader, the leader should be he has to play in all the role. He has to take the decision. He has to take the plan. He has to. He need a very strong, technical skill and all. He has to coordinate. Of course. Koloru Lakshmi Gautami. Yeah, coordination skill also required. Effective decision making skill also required. Of course, definitely, no doubt about it. Strong support towards subordinate in front of others. Yes, yes. Manikam Ramaswamy said, right? It is right. Yeah, we have to, as a leader, we have to support our subordinate. Yes, then only they will encourage, they will motivate, they can do more work, right? Great. Any other? Yeah, I think let me conclude these things. Definitely, as a leader, uh, strong influencer, right? Yeah, as a leader, we need so many skills. But thing is, most importantly, I used to say, or most of the people used to say that the strong decision making skills towards the vision, the vision of the team or vision of the company or vision of the college or vision of the university, need to satisfy by the need to achieved by the leader. So leader need a very pakka and efficient decision making skills, and the decision making towards the vision, it is most important, and they have to believe, they have to listen, all I think many people are actively sending so many texts to us. So definitely, the all these things are the leader should have this kind of skill. Then only we can be able to achieve the grade. Any other point do you want to say to us? Any other? Any other do you want to convey? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, definitely let me conclude this discussion about this pratana. And now I like to invite our session coordinator, Dr. Ruchu Tirupati, for further proceeding of the session. And, I request her to introduce herself and then he used to proceed further. Thank you. Thank you for making active participation. God bless you. Over to Ruchi.
Yeah. I'm here, sir. I think I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction, sir. Thank you. Very good afternoon, one and all present here. Thank you for organizing team of Gurukul Kangri University and Dr. Madan sir, Dr. Suyan sir, for giving me this opportunity as a session coordinator. And I'm Ruchi Tripathi, Assistant Advisor in National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Now I want to introduce, I like to introduce Dr. Professor Sanjeev Marwa sir. Dr. Sanjeev Marwa is the director of Jammu Kashmir Business School. He has held leadership position in academics and corporate since last 3 decades. He has led NB accreditation of the University Business School under his leadership. He is an expert in the area of strategic management and customer retention. Professor Marwa has authored many research papers, articles, presented and published in various national and international conferences. He is a member of Strategic Management Forum and IAM Consortium supported organization. He has conducted many international management development programs for the academicians and corporate executive. Professor Marwa has closely associated with Southern School of Business, University in Vancouver, British Columbia, Lincolnshire, and Humberside University, UK, Thames Valley University, UK, Singapore, Management University, Kathmandu School of Management, California State University, and Philadelphia University, USA. He was invited to speak at the prestigious debate at Oxford University on September 27, 2019. He is a founder editor of a referred journal. He has published 2 course books on research methodology and textbook on project management distributed by Wiley. He has also edited research-based book for academic leader on leadership and management. He is an MBA and also PhD in the area of customer relationship in management. He is also the recipient of Rashtriya Gaurav Samman 2015, academic leader of the year 2016 and leader in Asia with Global Vision and Outlook 2019. I would like to invite Professor Marwa sir, please deliver your lecture for the preparing action plan for change. Please sir, over to you.
Sir, we are getting your screen.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are getting your screen also, Prost.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir.
This session is about preparing action plan for change. As I move into this session, I understand that all of you have been introduced to leadership and there would be 3 components to this session. The first one would be focusing on the concept of change management and how it is to be implemented, which is the agenda of the session. In somewhere in the middle, we would also look at the leadership styles or leadership types, which I believe have been introduced to you already. But in case you have not undergone a test for your self-assessment, that test can be introduced somewhere in the middle of the session. And in the second part of the session, there would be a case study on outcome-based education, how that change management activity was carried out at JK Business School. In fact, I'm the director of JK Business School. JK is one of the large 135-year-old conglomerate. I need to repeat this because I think probably it got misunderstood for JK University. So we have JK Technology, JK Cement, JK Tires, and there are a lot of other industrial companies that have been doing business in this country for the last 130 years. And this business school is one of their CSR initiative. We implemented outcome-based education recently as part of our change management project. And today I've been invited to talk about change management. And also we would like to showcase as to how this change management was carried out at JK Business School over the last few months. Change. Change, of course, keeps happening all the time. In fact, very often we hear that change is the only constant. And why not? Look around and you know, as you have grown, you have seen so much of change happening around you. Who does this change? Mother Nature? Certainly, yes. We have seen how Mother Nature introduces change in the society. The pandemic, recent pandemic, I am not too sure. I would not get to the debate whether it's man-made or nature-made, but it has already shown us as to how our lives can undergo a change. That this was perhaps one of the biggest change we have seen in our lifetime. But change is not always nature-made. If you look around, talking up to a computer, laptop, mobile devices, Alexa, Siri, we know that a lot of these changes have been made by
about that.
Alexa. I'm sorry, my Alexa got activated. Some of these changes have happened because there were organizations which introduced products, services, processes to us, and today we are sitting in a world where there are so many luxuries available to us. Some of the changes which have been brought in the society have been made by, in fact, most of them have been made by an organization, and organization is just a group of people like you and me. About 100 plus of you have assembled here to attend this program for 5 days. You have an agenda for you. And one of the agenda items certainly is to bring about the change in the department that you are functioning, or maybe in the university that you are functioning, or maybe in the job or in the life of the students whom you are teaching. And everybody is involved in making change at some time or the other. But we will be talking about the science of change, the process of change, and how we can undergo a process of change with our colleagues and bring in the desired outcome with the help of a scientific process. Scientific process, I mean, which is theoretically well established. The art of progress is to preserve order amid change and to preserve change amidst order. That's what Alfred mentioned long time back. And of course, as the previous session speaker mentioned, and I will reiterate, there are question marks on whether the academia or academic professionals are keeping pace with the industry or not. And we know this allegation has been on us as professionals, academic professionals, for a very long time, that we have not kept the pace with the industrial development. Industry has been changing a little too fast. In fact, I would say the half-life of skills are falling very, very rapidly. And if the half-life of skills is falling rapidly, we need to innovate much more. We need to rework on our curriculum much more often, because students who come to our colleges, universities, they come here to spend about 3, 4, 5 of their self-discovery years with us. And our job is to give them the theoretical base of skills which are available with us so that they can be productive in the industry. But this particular content or the syllabus which we so oftenly refer as is just the assimilation of current practices, which is collation of by creating knowledge. And that's what we are supposed to do, disseminate to the students. But this particular curriculum, if it is not, or the way we carry out the learning outcomes, or the way we map the learning outcomes of a student, if there is a gap, the only person responsible is us as teachers. Of course, the organizations are equally responsible, but we are what the organization is all about. all of us have responsibilities to bring about positive change to the systems and processes that we are supposed to be managing. Some of us have the authority to bring about the change. Some of us might not have the authority to bring about change, but we certainly have the responsibility to influence the decision maker to bring about the positive change. In fact, the very first change that I'm talking about is the change in curriculum. And I remember when I visited Oxford last year, in fact, last September, I noticed that, our curriculum development is average, is perhaps one of the lowest in the world. We are not updating our curriculum as often as the industry requirement is. So all of us have responsibilities to bring about at least this kind of change in the subjects that we teach. But certainly at the organizational level, we will talk about how changes can be brought about and what is the process of bringing about the change. What are the steps that one as a professional, academic professional, we need to take to bring about the change. Of course, any change, when it comes to, it starts with movement from point A to B, and the point B is where we would like to be. Very oftenly we refer this as our vision. So that's where I want to be. This is where I am. This is where that is where I want to be. And you remember the old saying of Alice, tell me which way I got to go. The cat says it depends upon where you want to go. Alice says, I don't care. So if you don't care, you will keep on moving around, but you will not reach the place which is the vision that you have. Because unless the vision is there, the change will not happen. Vision, or the place you want to be, is the first step that can introduce positive change through you. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. So we need to have a vision, we have to act, and then the change happens. When the change happens, it could be a small incremental change, but it is the contributing factor to the change in the world, because society is built up on incremental changes. There is no remarkable change that has happened. Even if it has happened, it would have been a subset of many small incremental changes. I tell this to you with confidence because I read Isaac Newton's knighthood acceptance speech. And Sir Isaac Newton, when he was accepting the knighthood, mentions that I was sitting on a giant of knowledge and I incrementally contribute to that. When a well-known scientist of our lifetimes, and perhaps in the last few centuries, talks about sitting on a giant of knowledge, it reconfirms that there is abundant information available around us. We have to make very small incremental changes, and that could change the world forever. We all have responsibilities, as you mentioned that many of you are researchers. So you need to look around and see what you can contribute. Do not look at how big my contribution is to be. Just look at what small contribution that you can bring in, and that would probably bring a positive change in the entire organization and then to the entire society. Change management, of course, it goes without saying. It's, as I mentioned earlier, it's a science. So we are talking about the science of change. We are not looking at the art of leadership. Art of leadership is certainly important, but without understanding the science, no art can be implemented. So we will talk about how the systematic approach functions and what are the tools available to us to have a structured process and to have a desired outcome that we look out for or we set out for as part of our vision. So change management is all about having a process, set of tools, and reaching the place which is the desired outcome. In our change management exercise, we will look at the process that is being followed, the tools that are being followed, and what are the deadlines or the target dates that we set out in the change management activity that we would be going in for. All of you would be expected to look at one particular change that you would like to bring about. You will have to break that particular change into various set of activities. Nothing happens overnight. So you have to break your desired outcome into various steps. And that steps is the what we will be doing today as part of the change management project. And that is what the scientific way or the scientific way of bringing about a change. And that is what we would be attempting today. If you want to create incremental change, focus on behavior. But if you want a real breakthrough, change the paradigm. Yes, when we're talking about the big change out of the incremental change, we have to understand our vision. Our understanding of vision is important and the paradigm needs to be changed. When we make those small incremental changes, we must know what is the big picture, what we are looking up for. When we started our activity on outcome-based education, of course, we knew that it is a mandatory requirement for the accreditation in coming years, but we knew that the entire exercise is going to take very long time, and there were so many challenges that we are likely to face. So we started incrementally working on very small issues like redefining the course outcomes, because that was the step one. So course outcome was one incremental activity that was going on. But the larger paradigm was well understood, as you would notice that the vision was very clear that we have to become outbound. We have to implement OBE as part of our implementation at our institute. Well, the concept of dolphins and not whales is something that is very well known. So let's understand that incremental change is a dolphin and it is not a whale, meaning thereby there would be small steps that will keep happening and we will keep attempting those. Some incremental changes will fail, but absolutely all right, because we can always rework to that. If our step number 7 did not happen, it's all right. We can revisit it, maybe even leave it and move on to step 8, and still we could be on our path to reach where we were to be, which is step number 20, which probably is the larger change that we're looking up for. So when you break the activity into sub activities, achieving it becomes so very easily possible. And if there are failures, which there would be, because everything cannot go the way you plan, but you have to keep working out your plan. That is more important. And that is where you will realize that the step-by-step disintegration of the large change becomes so very handy. Well, Noel also says leadership is about change. It's about taking people from where they are now to where they need to be. Of course, change cannot happen without people, but the best way to get people to venture into an unknown terrain is to make it desirable by taking team there in their imagination first. What will happen when our institute will become the first institute in the country to have outcome-based education completely implemented? Look at what kind of ranking should we expect if that happens in the next 1 year. So, in our imagination, we were visualizing that, this is one big thing and this is one higher standard that we would achieve if we would implement this. And then these small processes begin step by step by looking at the course outcomes and the program outcomes and the program outcome assessment board, which we will talk about in detail. I'm giving examples because you must understand that these small incremental steps are key to the larger dream that you have, the larger vision you have. But the larger vision has to be sold to the entire team. If they do not understand the big picture, they are not with you in the small baby steps that you are taking to reach there. It can't be confidential. You have to talk to people and tell them that's the big picture. These are the small steps. These are the extra efforts we're going to be making, and together we will make these small baby steps. If some step fails, sometimes your team member will give you an idea how to do it. And that's what participating functioning is all about. And that would help. Well, the first question that always comes up when we're looking up for a change is, do I have the power to change? Am I the change leader? Most of the time, the answer is confusing. But if you believe in yourself, and if you believe in the scientific process of change, and if you believe in your vision, you have abundant power to bring about the change. Because change begins with somebody who assumes the responsibility to change. If you don't want to do it, it will not happen. If you want to do it, the power would come to you, because the positive change, when is being inculcated, it is being brought upon people above you and below you, they all become partner of this change. Of course, when we are talking about a scientific way of looking at a change management process, you need to understand what is the time, what is the scope, will we be able to preserve diversity of people, their viewpoint on what this change is being brought about, the capability of people, the capacity, and whether the readiness is there or not. You can, of course, browse these slides later on to understand the context of change, but you need to answer all these before you bring about the process of developing into change. We are human beings and we will behave like human beings. So the moment you talk about change, resistance would definitely happen. If everybody in your team is saying, yes, I am part of it, believe me, there is something wrong. Some of them probably will drop out in few days, because if it was that easy, the change would have already happened by now. You were not required. So you will have people dissenting, and you will have people talking about the complications of change. It is absolutely normal. The question that comes up is, can I cope with the present effort that I am doing, present responsibilities that I am doing? Are we ready for this change? Is it going to be bringing about the larger vision that we were talking, or these steps are good enough, but perhaps we will never be able to reach there? So lack of confidence, anxiety, initial happiness, but then later on saying that, okay, that perhaps we did it for you, but then it is perhaps not good enough. This would happen. There would be threat of going wrong in the direction. This is normal. Some of them will fall into denial mode and say, change, oh my God, I mean, what was this about? It's just fun, funny activity. It just happened, but perhaps the change was not really what was desired, has not really happened. There would be people who would start joining you and probably get disillusioned on the way. It's normal for people to get disillusioned. You need to communicate and communicate more to bring them back. Some people would definitely get into the hostile mode. It's very normal for people to put in a lot of effort and then later on turn hostile. But you should not look at the hostility they are bringing in. You should look at that at least they partner with you in the journey that you got initiated. Some people will be happy to be part of this journey when they get the acceptance, they have gradual acceptance, they would start following you, they will start walking towards success with you, they will move forward with you, and they are the case studies that you need to convince other people who would have dropped out of denial or disillusionment or hostility, and bring them upon, because the success will come when the entire team is with you. So some people will be probably joining a little early, joining in through the process and move with you, and success stories will be written. But it is your competence as a leader which will ensure that the entire team is with you. People who did not trusted you, people who trusted you but thought the process was not good enough, people who trusted you, thought the process was good enough, stayed with you for a while, but then decided this whole activity was wrong and moved out. So you have to go back and get them along. And that is where we will talk about how we ensure it happens and how we celebrate. We'll be talking about that. There are two models of change that we'll be talking about in this session. The first one is from Kurt Lewin, the model of change. And the second is about 8-step model, which we have reduced it to 6-step model for the convenience of understanding.
Professor Marwa, sorry to interrupt you. This part I have already covered in my session.
Okay, all right.
Change. So I think if you can move ahead, you can leave these two, and even I covered the Japanese model Kaizen and all that. And after that, from next to that, you can start.
All right.
And we have conveyed to participants that they are expecting more about how to fill actually the action plan.
Okay.
That is means our expectation from your side. And then at the means after the end of the day, I think if you are available and I am also available there, so we can answer to their queries that how to fill the action plan, and then they will upload that action plan.
All right. All right.
Right. Thank you so much.
Right. So I'm glad you have been introduced with both the models, and of course you have 3 models that you have already studied. So you have a fair understanding of the steps that take place, whether it is unfreezing to refreezing, or whether it is about steps like which are celebrating success. Why these are important is that in the process, if the sense of urgency is not created, nothing moves. And then there is a coalition that needs to be worked about. The vision has to be shared, empowerment, and then, as I mentioned earlier, short-term wins. Some people who are with you and have been part of the success story, you have to celebrate the success with them. If you're not celebrating success and small success stories, you would tend to miss out to bring about the other people who would have probably got moved out, but are probably prepared to come back because they have seen proof of concept. So change management process is all about conducting a process with proof of concept, as they say in the entrepreneurship world, with few success stories. So some success stories can be sold back, and then you can probably bring back more people, and then the entire change happen. And of course, I'm sure Professor has already covered with you about consolidating the position. So change is not permanent till the time it is part of the culture. And that is where you must understand that once you celebrate short-term wins, you get people with you, you need to consolidate the improvements and make it permanent in nature, because any change which does not becomes part of the change will not be able to be permanent in nature. And if the consolidation does not happen and the change is not permanent, the people or the department can go back to the earlier positions in due course, out of frustrations or out of not being happy or out of not being able to implement it, or take it as a fad whose time had come and time has gone. So therefore making the change permanent is extremely important. I would also ask you, I do not know whether the 16 personality test has been carried out or not. If it has not been carried out,
No, it has not been done. You can carry it out, please.
Okay. So we will be carrying it out shortly as part of this. Now I would like to introduce my colleague, Professor Supriya Sehgal, who was the project in charge of the outcome-based education. And she would start with carrying out the personality test, and then we would move on with the presentation of how the change happened. And I will come back to you little later about the management of the change when it comes to, and then we will be talking about the filing up of the assignment also. May I invite Professor Supriya Sehgal to come and start with the 16 personality test, please? Professor Supriya perhaps would be looking up for the rights to share the presentation, her screen.
Technical team, please do it. Dr. Suyash, please give rights to Dr. Supriya.
Here, I'll make it
Dr.
fast.
Suyash, are you there?
Yes.
Technical team.
I can meanwhile probably start with the test.
Hello.
Yeah, Aman?
Yeah, Aman.
Ma'am, I have given you right. Please unmute yourself, ma'am. You can unmute and talk. Ma'am, from your side, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, from your side, you have to unmute yourself. I have given you right to unmute.
She also has sharing rights also. All right, so instead of wasting time, what I can do is I can share this particular leadership test. Meanwhile, Professor Supriya can be given the rights.
Sir, could you please write it down this in the chat box so directly we can click and we can go ahead for the persist if possible, sir?
I think that would be better. Yeah, I'll just do it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, we got it, sir.
Okay, so I'll just share my. I still haven't got the rights to share.
Meanwhile, I would request everyone to kindly, Google this or maybe look at this test and start doing it for yourself. It's a small 7 to 8 minute test. Meanwhile, we will continue with the presentation further on. It's a very interesting activity. It's to know thyself, and you have to be honest because the result would be shared only with you. So your personality type and where what kind of changes you would like to bring about, or what kind of activities you would like to manage better as part of your team member and give the other colleagues, because you are not of that type, or this is probably the demand for the particular assignment. So I would request next 5 to 7 minutes, just carry out this test for yourself. It's in your interest, and we will continue with the change process. Well, Supriya, you can start sharing your screen now.
Ma'am, now you will be able to share your screen. I have allowed. Am I audible, ma'am? Supriya, ma'am? I think your voice is not coming.
Professor Supriya, there's a problem with your audio. You have to switch on your audio.
Ma'am, your mic is not working, I think. Please check again.
Professor Supriya, your mic is not working. You'll have to please keep checking your mic also.
Supriya ma'am, if you are using any mic connected to your laptop or desktop, then please check the connection, whether it is connected or not.
Sir, the mic status is unmute on the mute. So no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Professor Supriya, you have to unmute yourself on your own. Here, you'll have to do it differently.
Yes, ma'am, click on the default. Yes, yes, yes. Microphone, click on the default. No, on the microphone. Supriya ma'am, if you are able to hear me, then click on the default mic in at front panel. Click on that option.
Fourth option.
Can anyone, other participant can share his screen or her screen in the meantime?
I will do it. I have that screen. It's the same presentation. Both of us have a copy. So in case, next 4 or 5 minutes, while participants are taking down their test, if it's not visible, if it's not audible, I'll share the screen.
Okay, sir. Okay.
But, unmuting herself is more important though. Otherwise, I'll start with the presentation after 5 minutes.
Sir, I have given her right to unmute herself, but I think there is a problem with the mic at her side.
Yeah, I think there is a confusion between the standard mic and the additional mic that she is added.
Yes, sir. Supriya ma'am, can you connect with your mobile phone along with your desktop?
That would give a lot of echo. I think let her try. I think the standard device is much better. In fact, she can remove the microphone and straight away go on to the laptop only. There's no need to have.
Yes, sir. That is much better.
Supriya, you can remove the microphone. Just go on the laptop. Just ensure that your WhatsApp is not there. That brings in echo.
Sir, shall I share my screen?
No, I will do it in case, but audio is important if she has to present. In case it's not possible, then I'll cover her component also.
I completed the test, that's why. Okay.
Supriya,
I have completed the test.
ma'am, try to choose another option for your mic and share your PPT on the screen.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So just let me share.
Share, but ensure that you're not logging in from 2 devices because otherwise echo would start happening.
No, I am only from one device.
That is fair enough. Now it's completely very well audible.
Okay, that's great.
So you luckily had tests, so probably at 5 minutes that we have all the test.
So I hope everybody is taking the test.
Yeah,
while I was trying to.
7 to 8 minutes is the actual time to complete the test. So let them complete the test.
So just a little bit about the test. There are various questions that you will answer honestly, because the result of the test will be with you only. But this test will help us discover our own strengths. And as Professor Marva had already stated, that change is the only constant. And what I believe that since we do acknowledge the fact that change is the only constant, we cannot do anything about it. But what we can do is to gain control over the change, to manage the change in such a way that ourselves or our organizations are best benefited by it. And of course, to be able to manage the change, the first step is to know our own strengths, where we stand, what are our personalities, what kind of leadership skills that we have.
Hello. Excuse me, ma'am.
Change, yes.
Ma'am, will you please give us some time to concentrate on the questions? Then we can.
Sure.
Please.
Okay, we will start at 1:06. So let's not start before 1:06. So another 4 minutes. Let them comfortably do the test. As we will not be able to elaborate on each activity presently or each personality type today, because that would be purview and we might lose the focus, because the focus on today's session would be only on bringing about the change. We are going to be presenting you a case study. This would be followed by Q&A on the activity that all of you need to conduct as part of the assignment. So we'll be assisting you in this session and the next session in the evening, or WhatsApp whenever you have any query about that. So the focus would be only on making the change management or working out on the change management process. Your personality type, which one you fit in, would be entirely your choice. And nobody is one kind of professional or leadership style, because it is a situation which decides what kind of leadership role you need to undertake. There are times when there's a discipline issue, you have to be an authoritative leader. You can't be a person who's taking everybody along when there's a question of indiscipline. You know it pretty well. And there are times when you are working with your colleagues, you can't be authoritative, even if you are head of the college or the director of the institute, vice chancellor of the university. You have to treat each and every faculty member with respect, because this is the purpose that they have taken up this career. So it has to be a teamwork, collaborative approach when it comes to working with the faculty colleagues. It might work in corporate, but the system of giving instructions doesn't work well in the college system. So depending upon the situation, which leadership style has to be used. And for different kind of situations, different leadership style would be used, and we will be discussing that as part of this presentation today. Over to Professor Supriya. I think many of them have completed the test, so you can please take it from here onwards. Professor Supriya.
I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Very well, please.
Okay, that's great. So thank you very much. I hope you have all completed the personality test. In the same website where you're taking the personality test, your personality and the traits related to the personality would be reflected. Each personality types, there is an introduction of the personality types, the various strengths that are there with each personality type, certain weaknesses if there are. Each personality types, their relation vis-a-vis the management, their relations with their colleagues, their relations with their managers, with their subordinates, with the environment in general, how they react to various stimuli in the environment. They're all given there. You can get your personality types emailed also to you by just putting your email ID. Later on, if anyone needs to discuss their particular personality types or traits related to us, they can contact us. Our contact details, our email IDs are already with the organizers. Thank you so much for that. So with this, we will start our presentation. Just a minute, I'm sharing, but okay. So I hope my slides are now visible to you. So outcome-based education is the latest paradigm shift which has swept the education system. Now this shift can be seen as shift in emphasis from objectives to outcomes, right? So let us first focus on what basically is outcome-based education and what are its characteristics. The outcome-based education, as opposed to traditional education system, focuses on certain behaviors, certain knowledge and skills, which you can say, which specify the intended endpoint of the period of engagement in specific learning activities. So we can say that this kind of education system can be defined as beginning with the end in mind, right? So the outcome-based educations are centered around the needs of the students, as opposed to objectives in the traditional system, which describe what the learner is expected to achieve as a result of instruction. The outcome-based education describes broad aspects of behavior, which incorporate a wide range of knowledge and skills. And learning outcomes specify this, intentional outcomes that the learners are seeking, right? So the outcomes in the outcome-based education is intentional. And every outcome can be assessed using suitable performer indicators, right? In fact, the entire curriculum, the entire teaching and learning methods are integrated in such a way that these outcomes can be achieved, right? So it puts emphasis on learning process being actively pursued and managed by students themselves, where learners are facilitators in the students' quest for knowledge and skills. So in 2020, we at JK Business School decided to implement this outcome-based education system with the strategic intent to bridge the gap between academic and industry, right? And this outcome-based education was stated to be introduced with the involvement of all our stakeholders, including students, faculty, industry patterns. The parents were also consulted. The alumni were also involved in the same process. So as part of this outcome-based education implementation, the main intents or the strategic outputs that were sought were to establish vision and mission statements, or to revisit the already established vision and mission statements of the institute, to establish the program educational objectives, mappings of these program educational objectives with missions, defining the program learning objectives, and program-specific objectives and course outcomes with Bloom's taxonomy. I will be explaining some of these, the process in detail, but let us first start with Bloom's taxonomy. Now, in educational environments, all the learning outcomes have been they have been divided into or identified into 3 different domains, right? These domains are affective domains, psychomotor domains, and cognitive domains. Now, affective domains are those domains which refer to the attitude, values, and emotions of the learners, whereas psychomotor domains is ability to accomplish certain physical tasks. Third domain is cognitive domain, with which most of the technical and management institutions are concerned with, which refers to intellectual or thinking skills and gaining knowledge. Now, in each domain, Bloom has identified several levels of learning, which are arranged from least complex level to the most complex levels of thinking. So, as you can see here, the Bloom's taxonomy guides these students from very basic, very least complex tasks like remembering and recalling, which is the first and foremost basic level of learning, to creation, which is the most complex level or the highest level of learning. Now, the course outcomes and the program outcomes are designed keeping in mind the various levels of Bloom's taxonomy. And if you can see in the figure, each of the level has got certain verbs attached with this. And while defining the course outcome, these verbs are usually used to define the course outcome so that it is ensured that the outcome at this level of cognitive domain is achieved. I can give you an example. For example, for a certain subject, the course outcome 1 starts with the level 1, which relates to understanding. So understanding and have knowledge of the financial planning and wealth management in India and in global context. So that is the first outcome that is desired, that the students expect from the particular subject that is being taught. So students have to actively try to achieve this outcome for themselves. Second is analyze various assets and risk associated with the same. Third is evaluate various asset allocation strategies. And the fourth is create a financial plan incorporating various asset classes. So you can see here that all the four course outcomes have been designed in such a way, have been aligned in such a way that they refer to level of different levels of learning in the Bloom's taxonomy. Right. Now about the affective and psychomotor domains, they are more related to those areas where creative and physical learning is more important, but in higher education, as I explained, the cognitive learning is definitely given more stress. Now, for change to happen, it really helps if the whole organization really wants it. As to quote Kotler, there is need to develop a sense of urgency around the need for change. So the first step was to dwell into the reason for the change, and for that a guiding coalition was formed involving the deans of the head of the departments. Just a moment. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
I'm audible?
Yeah, ma'am. Very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a moment. All right. I'll just put my phone aside because I thought I'm getting a call from you and I'm not audible. Okay, so I'm being asked to just really move a little faster so that we can cover the action plan in detail. So a guiding coalition was formed. The entire management was involved to discuss the traditional based education system that was being followed in the institute. Like in all other universities, colleges, campus around the world, it was being followed, and we saw what are the deficiencies in the traditional system, and what are the what is there in the environment that necessitates this change. So one thing we saw is that the industry has become so the changes are so fast, it has become so versatile, that as we often say, that most of the jobs that that were there, that were around, for which the students were applying for, the students had been preparing for, would soon be obsolete. Of course, pandemic has thrown a lot of economic uncertainty into the mix, and we know that these students require additional skills, which was definitely, as you'll see further, which was confirmed by the various survey we conducted with the industry. So the kind of job roles that the students would be required to take in future, some of them may not yet be designed, or the different job roles like service technologies, or computer vision engineering, or cloud computing, or cloud engineering, data scientists. These are the kind of careers choices that the students have to make or students have to face. So obviously, the curriculum, the entire course have to be more reflective to the needs of the society. Now, the first step, after identifying that there was a need of change, we decided that it is better to take all the stakeholders on board. A survey was carried out after our stakeholders were introduced to the concept of the change. A survey was carried out with different stakeholders, as you can see here. Just let us start with the students. When the concept was explained to the students viewed multiple benefits from the implementation of outcomes-based learning, and they believe that this will ensure better learning for them, and it will help them gauge their level of preparedness for the industry. Quickly moving to faculty perception. Now, faculty, like every change, especially at an institution level, it is very important that we get the support of and involvement of the entire faculty. The faculty wholehearted commitment to the project is desired to ensure the success in implementation of assessment process. So results showed that most of the faculty thought it's an excellent process. It's an excellent initiative. Some were a little confused. Some were a little concerned about the workload, but most of them recommended that a preliminary training and gradual implementation of outcome-based, process is required. Similarly, a survey was carried out with our industry, and the industry confirmed that despite various initiatives, there's still.
Supriya, your slide is lost. Your slides are lost. I think it has gone back to your.
I've seen that it is probably relaunching.
Yeah, it's fine now.
The industry, in our survey for the industry perception, the industry, as you can see on the screen from the word cloud, the industry was definitely speaking about employability of the students, the problem-solving skills, innovation, competency, analytical skills. They spoke about rapidly changing environment. They spoke about innovation, leadership. So definitely, we felt that there is a need to bridge this gap, and outcome-based education would be, if we do not implement the program, it will be lack of direction for both students and faculty. The students need to be trained in designing the course outcome and assessments, because it will affect both the quality of program and the placements, and the students will ultimately suffer. So after creating a sense of urgency and bringing everybody on board, the first step, if you go step by step, or maybe because of the lack of time, will not go date wise, but I will just give a broad idea of how we first got our board of the board of governors on board with this, and we discussed that we will have a pilot implementation, right? After this was taken after we got the recommendation from the board of governors and a coalition, a strong coalition, a strong backing of the management, the director, deans, all the head of departments was obtained it was decided to take it to Board of Studies. Board of Studies held discussions on setting up on vision and mission, which were slated to be the long-term outcomes, and the program education objectives and program objective and course outcomes, which were identified as short-term outcomes of the programs. In this slide itself, and I'll be sharing you some more, we have detailed some of the program educational objectives that we designed for the institute, and how we map them with the mission statements of the institute. Right. Now, to address the challenges faced and conveyed by the faculty and students, a lot of workshops were arranged for students, for faculty. The various external experts were called. We ourselves also went to NITT or Chandigarh for all our senior faculty colleagues, and we came back having a much better understanding of the designing of the entire process. As we wanted this program to be more responsive to the needs of the industry, we introduced new Python as we decided to introduce Python as the compulsory subject for all the students. It was decided. Then we introduced various LinkedIn certification programs along with to augment our already existing programs. So the objective was, it is not very easy to bring about change in the entire curriculum at once, but it is also imperative, it is also important at the same time that we provide those skills to the students that are desired by the industry, and we could do it by addition of the new certification courses along with the courses that were already being taught. So of course it is good to talk about short-term wins. Pilot implementation of OBE, which was done for the third trimester in 2020 for PGDM course, it helped us in alignment of course level outcomes with program outcomes. It helped created a visual map of the program for the faculty. We were able to clearly map the level of attainment for each course outcome for each and every student. We were able to identify the gaps where the program outcomes or the course outcomes were not achieved, and then we were able to have corrective action in place, which is the most important step. And now the corrective action to bridge those gaps which are still there in the learning outcomes. We planned to include the certification courses. We had beyond academic activities. So we had several workshops. We organized several live projects for the students. So it is very important that in the entire outcome-based learning objective, the focus is that entire learning cannot and should not take place in the classroom alone. Different outcomes can be achieved in different manner. Some of them can be achieved by theoretical teaching. Some of them have to be, imparted. We have to ensure that practical experiential learning should be given. Some hands-on experience in the industry. For certain curricular activities are important for the, to help attainment of the. So I'll say the first important short-term win was to be able to map the outcome assessments, to map the outcome of each and every student, identify gap, and make a strategy to bridge those gaps. Right? This I'll skip, but this is another the survey that was conducted after the pilot implementation to see what is the level of implementation, but I'll come to the impacts. So first or foremost impact is in first 6 months, we were able to form a powerful coalition with students, alumni, industry. right? Having a shared understanding where we need to move forward with education, outcome-based education, right? Second, introducing the industry expectation into our learning process was a big challenge. Therefore, all outcomes, rubrics, and assessment instruments were designed in such a way that all these instruments, they contributed toward achievements of larger objectives for which the institute exists. So there was mapping from the CEO level to the vision level. So definitely we have a better a curriculum which is far more reflective of the industry needs. We have assessment practices that are fair and transparent. The focus has shifted from content to assessing students' performance. We have a student-centric approach, right? And of course, all this will help in getting a better accreditation for the college, right? Now, the role of communication cannot be overstated in any of the change process. Communicating the change proactively, clearly, and consistently throughout this process of first pilot implementation and through full-fledged implementation has been instrumental in making this a very effective and very successful, in a very short period of time. There has been a democratic process, which we will be explaining with our action plan. The entire case will become more clear when we go point by point, date by date in the action plan. So, but there's one thing: throughout the process, the democratic process was followed. Continuous feedbacks were taken, and success stories were highlighted and shared with all the stakeholders, right? And the feedback system has been part of our annual academic review. There are feedbacks at the end of every curriculum, and now change must become part of the culture of the organization. And to consolidate the shame, we shared our results with the fraternity through media, taking parts in faculty development program. We organize our own faculty development program on implementation of outcome-based learning in the face of challenges thrown by pandemic. Right? Because you know that pandemic has brought about changes in the education system that are here to stay. And since such changes are here to stay, we must make sure that our all the initiatives in the institute, in the university, in the colleges are definitely aligned with those changes. So keeping in view, we did held a series of FDPs. Now I would request director to share the challenges faced during this entire process and how managing that change became the strength of the program. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I think I'll continue with your shared screen only.
Sure.
Because there is we have sufficient time to spend on this. Yes, of course, there are challenges. Every time you want to implement change, there are resistances, there are challenges in implementation, and this was no different exercise. All the change project that you are visualizing today and planning today, you will also have those resistances or challenges in various steps that you would be planning up. But that's absolutely normal. So when I talk about the activities and the constraint that we have had, of course, we were definitely relying on instructors as presenters of knowledge, and they probably thought that it was good enough. The present system was good enough. So why need to get into, reworking on the course outcomes? So there were challenges and there were resistance from certain colleagues who thought that this system that we have, case-based teaching, and it's a global practice, so everybody is doing it. Ahmedabad is doing it, Harvard is doing it. We have a wonderful method in place, so whatever the course outcomes that we've been using for a couple of years, let that be maintained. But of course it required effort to overcome and talk to them and make them part of this change. There were students motivation which actually supported us to a large extent. There were challenges in understanding the design outcomes and mapping, because it's an Excel shape sheet-based functioning, and it's a little complex in calculations. So certain faculty members did have challenges in trying to understand the designing outcome and mapping them with the program outcomes. There is a disbelief in the system initially because they thought that probably it's just a fad and it would go off. There are so many ideas which keep coming up. And of course, there was this particular system was silent on soft skills, which, as you would know, in management schools, is an important aspect of education. So there were time constraints. These were the challenges that we have come across. So I'll just move on. Request Professor Supriya to move on to the next slide, which is managing change. And it was not easy. It looks great when you are summarizing your caselet, but then of course we try to maintain positivity as much as possible. I would be honest, we did not started it with the coalition in completely. It started with the authoritarian approach because that was the only way you could actually bring about a large change. So every time you cannot have the same style of functioning. So initially there were authoritarian approach to bringing about the change, and towards the end it was completely collaborative and everybody celebrated the adoption process. But yes, when there were times that there were doubts on the vision, so we had to keep rewriting our vision, keep discussing the goals and the objectives with everybody. There were times when the motivation got lost out, we had to bring it back. Collaborative approach is certainly the key in education. There's no doubt about it. And of course, open communication can only ensure that, things are happening, because there were times when faculty members just gave up because they thought this complex Excel sheet is not what I'm supposed to be here for. So I have my course. I know how to deliver it in the classroom. Course outcome I have designed, and my job ends there. But then for the dean to map the program outcomes with the course outcome was a challenge, and a dean cannot map each and every course outcomes unless they are in harmony with each other. So there were a lot of Excel based sheet based functioning, and there were challenges, I must admit, that came up. But with support of couple of faculty members which turned facilitators, this was brought about. I think we have just about 20 minutes, so we'll come back to the activity chart, the change project action plan. This is very similar to the Professor, can you move to the next slide, please? So we have the change project action plan. This is very similar to the activity that you have to do. Now, I can understand many of you would probably feel that, I mean, it's too early. You giving us, 1 day or half a day to write out action plan for the complete change that we are envisaging over next 6 months or 1 year. But believe me, if you don't do it now, you will never be able to do it. And I really appreciate the management of this program, which have introduced this concept at this stage. This is the right time, day 4, and you have to do it in the next. I can tell you that when we did this activity for the first time, Professor Pankaj Madan was part of us. I was there. Supriya was there. We were participating in the workshop, and we were given just 1 hour. We were told, think about the change and write your action plan in next 1 hour. Lunch will be served only after the action plan is written. You guys are lucky, you are at home, so you can probably have your lunch. Some of you might have already have it simultaneously, but you need to write this now, and do not worry about, the same argument that was given to us, I'm going to give it to you. You know your colleagues, you know your systems, you know your challenges, you know your students, you know everything that's going to be happening in your college. So if you have to introduce a change, how would you do it? What process you would follow? What steps will you take up? What leadership style you would use? You have to decide it. No time is required. Application of mind is required. We would certainly, I'm glad Mr. Pankaj Madan has set up a meeting in the evening again at 5:30. So we would be coming back to you again. You have to write a plan similar to this. Of course, the action measures are not required, but you need to write the action plan. How will you measure it? If you can write it, it's always good. What style you would be following, what method of communication you would be following, and who would be doing it. Of course, in our case, the senior management was involved. So, director, registrar, chairperson, and we had deadlines which we were told to mention. So we took about, 1 month for existing program assessment, then about 15 days for this, and then 1 week for this. So you would notice that, August 31 is the first date. 15 days after September 14 was the next date of review. Then 1 week was required, and then we wrote September 21. And then we took 3 weeks for October 5, and then 1 week for that. So, similarly, you will have an idea that how long will that activity require. So you will start writing the dates now onwards. But suppose, today is 20th of May, and you think it will take you about 1 month to go back and start implementing it. After that, probably about 15 days to get the existing process in place and a survey on that. So you can start with probably say, 1st of July, and then next date as 15th of July, and next date as 1st of August. So you have to give your deadlines, but the change management project is yours to manage. You have to understand what activities you are going to be following. You have to break those activities into as many sub-activities as possible. The more sub-activities you break into, the easier it is for you to map the change. Some activities will fail. Some activities will get delayed. Some activities will happen maybe simultaneously, but that's absolutely normal. But believe me, you'll be struggling. But if you have a deadline on your mind and on a piece of paper, you will be much more focused versus implementing change and going back to my college and trying to do it. It will never happen. If it has a deadline, there is a measurement date, and you would look at whether I am taking sufficient time or have I taken additional time to complete the activity. Some activities would begin parallelly, and you know that for sure, because I cannot really expect my board of governors to have a meeting on October 12th. I have to schedule this meeting in the month of September itself. Yes, I will write a note, talk about them, talk about change management action plan, and tell them that I need your approval to implement OBE. So, some process activities would begin much earlier, but if you have an end date in mind, it's much easier. And you know for sure that if you have BOS, you have to have, get this approved through BOS. If you have any other administrative system in your college, you'll have to write those administrative processes and then the general estimated time of how fast it can take place. Suppose you want to start a new course. So what is the process and how would you assess? How would you ensure that you are able to talk to 3 corporate professionals to come and help you about writing the content of that course? How will you compare and contrast? Where will you send it for validation? How fast the course can come back after the validation is done? So if the change management is talking about introducing a new course, what are the steps? You know it pretty well. But if you're doing it for the first time, still you know what is the process of introducing a new course in your campus, how much time it takes. Break those activities into various sub-activities, and you will find it will help you to achieve and implement change much easier. It would be easier for you to convince your colleagues. It will be easier for you to convince your senior management. It will be easier for you to convince your board of management, and you would be happy post facto that the change which I envisaged in a workshop sitting around there has been implemented. This place is the most fertile place. When you are in training programs, there are a lot of ideas that come to you. Many of the ideas just go away because we get back into rigmarole of our routine functioning. So the best way is that you write down the deadlines and the ideation that you have envisaged today and go back and try to keep those deadlines. All deadlines would be respected. All deadlines will be implemented, perhaps not. But there are some deadlines that can happen sooner than the date you have envisaged. So please start looking back at the change idea that you have on your mind. Break into many activities. Talk about the leadership style that you would require and how would you communicate. If it's a survey, what process you will carry out. If it's a meeting, how will you carry out, and what is the date by which this particular meeting or this particular agenda or this particular survey will get completed. and when it will be summarized and when it will be served to the next board and get their approval on place. So this is an activity which is extremely important activity for you. You want to bring about change. I'm sure you are. That is why all of you have spared 5 working days to be attending this workshop. You know you have to bring about change. There is a process. We are talking about a scientific process of breaking the change into subcomponents, giving it deadlines. It's sheer common sense, but that's important because this is how scientifically you are supposed to bring in, design in positive change in your introduction, in your organization. So I'm open to questions now. If you have any questions, feel free. I'm running these slides for you so that it will give you some reference advantage.
Dr. Do you have that slide of leadership styles? Presently, do you have that slide?
Leadership style means types of leadership?
Yeah.
No, I will not have in this presentation. We can probably cover it.
It is there with us.
Supriya, meanwhile, can you just come back to this slide on these different slides?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, these slides are important. Let them have a look at these slides. Supriya, please.
Yes, sir.
Continue to share with your presentation.
Just a moment.
We have only shown them one slide. They need to see all 5 slides.
Just a moment, sir. Just post.
Also, Professor Pankaj, we have sent you the email of this particular 5 slides also, which was our project. You can, I think you would have shared it with the participants so they can have a look at a reference project, so to say, and prepare their own presentation.
Yeah, so, we'll just share your slides just after this your session. Yeah.
All right. Also, there is a blank slide which they would need to have that would probably be covering about these components, action, the headers, so that the headers can be given to them, and under those headers they can see
that we have already shared with them. And participants, me and Professor Marwa, and I would request Dr. Supriya also to be available at 5 o'clock. From 5 o'clock to 5:30 we are available. So if you have any issues related to filling up the action plan, till then, I know you will be busy in 1/3 session also from 3 to 5, but still from 5 to 5:30 will be available to help you to fill this action plan. Right. So you can take your time and then you can upload it tomorrow after doing it, and still we'll give one more day to you to upload this final action plan after this FDP, because this is the most important aspect of this FDP of academic leadership.
So where will you be available in the same zone?
I'm sorry, the question is not very clear. Can you repeat the question, please?
I was wondering, sir, you said you would be available. Would you be available over here on the same platform?
Yes, we would be available on the same platform. We will share our numbers with you in case there are particular specific queries. You can write to Professor Supriya or write to me. If there are general queries, of course, we are there in the evening for half an hour. Feel free to talk about discuss your plan, and if you have any challenges in terms of writing it up, we are there to help you today evening 5 to 5:30.
Okay, so I'll be there.
Sir, we have some query in that chat.
Yeah, I have Zainab asking that for action plan can we change on OBE only? No, you can pick up any topic, any change management activity that is on your mind. OBE is our change management exercise that we did about a year back. So you have to look at, like I gave example, you want to introduce a new course, let that be the change that you bring in. You want to, look at, outcome based, COs and POs for particular college, you can do that. You can, any activity, academic activity, you want to conduct an MDP in your college, and what is the action plan? You can write a action plan for conducting a management development program for businesses that is. So it's whatever is close to your heart, and that is what you would love to do for your college or for your university. Just make an action plan for that. This is just a reference on how to write an action plan. That is all. It's your dream, your idea, and your breakup of activities that we are looking for.
Sanjeev
may
sir,
I?
I have also query. Sanjeev sir, I have also query Ruchi here.
Yeah.
You have told ki, we have choose our topic as per your convenience, because I am not the part directly not related to HEI. So can I choose my topic as per my organization?
Certainly yes. Certainly yes. So it's your change
My big
management.
question, because the OB is not fixed. It can be very different.
OB is just a reference. It is one case study. You can pick up any change management activity in your organization where you're working for. You're working as a department head, you want to look at a department changes, feel free for that. You are a vice chancellor of a university, you want to bring in some different academic focus or research focus to your university, you can write that. So whichever position that you're working in, whatever change you would like to bring, it's your change. Our support is available in terms of trying to help you to break it into various components and have a deadlines and have particular parameters and help you in terms of the leadership style that you would like to follow.
Correct.
So,
Thank
Ruchi, let me add to this. We were actually planning to introduce it at 5:30, but what you are actually required to do, the first step is to identify an area where change is required in your organization. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to
There is
the aim, the scope and objectives of the change. And after that, you have to go towards the action plan.
There's a question of how to fix the limitation of change management. Interesting. I would not like to get into that. My series wants to answer this question, but how to fix the limitation of change management, we will not get into that. There are every change will have challenges. There is no system in place which can prevent change to happen, but there would be challenges when you implement it. So we will not get into that. We are only focusing on change management project as we have been told to work on. It may be introducing a new course. Yes, certainly introducing a new course is a good idea, and there is a lot of processes that you need to have. If you have something on your mind, please try to introduce a new course. But the process of introducing a new course does not happen that tomorrow morning you go and introduce a new course. So that process is something that you have to identify. Is any particular format is there for action plan? Yes, there is a format. The format has been mailed to you or will be mailed to you. You can look at the format. It exactly will have the same headers that we have shown you in this slide. The last slide, Professor Supriya, if you can add up your slide again, the one for the action plan, so that that structure is being sent to you, so you can work on that.
And
I'm project in charge and I have prepared action.
And do we have time till tomorrow?
Yes, you have time till tomorrow, but Professor Madan has been very kind. He is giving you one additional day. So I think probably you might have time till day after to submit the complete assignment as part of the certification.
Thank you.
Action
So
plan
you
can
will
be
be getting a blank action plan like this.
and your slide is not there.
Yeah, so that slide is not there. Okay. So you will be getting a blank action plan for the same. This is just for example that we have shown you the action plan that we had made for our institute, but similar you can make. We will be sharing with you the blank action plan.
Yes, it is applicable for engineering colleges. Engineering colleges are about 10,000 in number. So we need to have this change management for every academic organization in the system, whether it is a UGC based college, whether it's a management institute, whether it's an engineering college or it's a hotel management institute. Academic change can be brought in everywhere. So it is applicable for each of the engineering colleges, each of the diploma colleges. So whichever position you are in, please make a change plan for yourself. Introducing a subject is one easiest one to do if you are a faculty and you think that maximum you can do is introduce a subject, please do that. If you're a department head and you have a couple of faculties working with you, look for a larger objective and see if you can introduce a couple of courses or maybe a new system of evaluation of students, or probably a new system of assessment, or particular trying to get case-based methods for all your department. So whatever is the dream that you have in your mind, whatever is the vision that you have, try to implement it. Supriya, I think आपका slide नहीं आ रहा. In fact, they would like to have a look at the slide so that
It is there. It's not reflected.
No, it's not there.
Let me check.
All right, I think I'll share it.
You're sharing it?
Yeah, I've shared it. Yeah. So this was the slide one, which you would notice, as I mentioned earlier, August 31, September 14, September 21, that kind of deadlines. But then we moved on further to, addressing students, coaching style, a town hall meeting, and, when you have a faculty meeting, of course, democratic style. So November 2, workshop on OBE for students, because this was a elaborative exercise and both of us were involved. So we had to plan it for a couple of months. But feel free. But then if you are planning a big change management project, I'm sure you also know it pretty well. It won't be implemented less than 6 months. So plan it for next 6 months. What is the change that you would like to bring about in your functioning in your institute? So there are faculty meetings, of course, which are participatory in nature, interactive, democratic style. Who handles the faculty meeting? Department head or dean handles that. Sometimes the administrative decision, you need to involve the director. So whatever is the decision, you have to decide who will be leading and what is the process. If it's a questionnaire to be filled up, like in our case, there was alumni feedback and industry feedback and parents feedback. So it was done by an online questionnaire. We sent questionnaire to everybody and then they came back and program had collated them. So there are certain decisions that will go to the board, certain decisions that will probably get decided by the department head, certain decisions that will go to the vice chancellor, or sometimes if it involving financial project, you will have a finance officer, so you will wait for his approval. So whatever is the process that you have, just write in the process and ensure that as many components you can design out of it, easier it is to map your change management activity. So it can be about 20 steps, it could be 30 steps, it could be 5 steps, but 5 steps is not a very good idea. I would say start with 20, 25, 30 steps, and I'm sure once you do this, next time you have an idea, next time you have a plan, you will sit, write the action plan, and it will become much more easier for you to manage change. So if you make it part of a habit, all your changes that you would provide, you plan in future will go with this action plan. This action plan, we got it about a year and a half, 2 years back. Today, I have action plan for 3 more activities which are going on in my campus. It's addictive. It's just like a calendar that you have, but it's a wonderful calendar to have. So we'll be meeting with you again at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, I will probably go back to the conference coordinators to see if they would like to, close the session.
Anybody has question, any query, any doubt?
Yeah.
I think no.
There's a question. I think I'm sorry, missed out. Is there a common format? Yes, common format of action plan already shared with all WhatsApp groups. So you have it already on the WhatsApp group.
Yes,
can
sir.
we slide for reference in WhatsApp group? I am sure the slides can be shared. They can be forwarded. Professor Supriya, if you can just send these 5 slides to Shreyansh, or maybe sorry, to Soyansh, and they can share it with the participant. We can share these slides with you certainly today.
Okay.
Already we have shared 3 action plans as an exemplar.
Oh, very good.
I think so they can go through those action plans also, and you can share also your slides. I think that will give a proper insight into how they can prepare for the action plan.
Wonderful. Dr. Pankaj is a wonderful program manager. I mean, he understands how the process to move forward. So you're getting all the support, and we are there with all our support with you till today evening. And I mean, after that, you can feel free to connect with us or Professor Supriya or Professor Pankaj. And if you need any help, we would be happy to help you to bring about the change which is so badly required in your organization. And you feel for it and you want to do it. Our support is just a small contribution that we can provide to you.
So, all right, Dr. Pankaj, we have already, you spoke about the leadership types, approaches, and situations. So different types of leadership and leadership approaches. along with certain papers on leadership and change, we have already shared as part of the study material.
Okay.
That can be shared with the members.
Okay, thank you.
So if you want, I can share all these again with Shreyansh.
Yeah. Please share it with Dr. Suyesh. He will share it in the group.
I'll
Although I was having few slides of that leadership style, so I have already shared it in the group. So if they are same, still we will share those slides.
Yeah, they some of them are same, some are different, and we have certain papers
Okay.
which are a very good read on the not only change management process, but also on leadership.
So nice of you.
So I have I'll just share them with Shreyansh also,
Yeah.
along with the PDF of this action plan and the updated PPT, and the same can be shared with the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I would like to hand over to the session chairperson to continue with the program, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev, sir, and Supriya, ma'am, for a wonderful session. And also thank you, the Pankaj Badarsan, in between he is helping. Thank you all. And now I would like to invite Gagan, sir, for the report reading. Over to you, sir. Gajanan, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm audible?
Yeah,
I'm
very well.
audible?
Yeah, very
okay.
well.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all. I am Gajanan Patil, Research Scholar of Shivaji University, Kolhapur, Maharashtra. I am thankful to Coordinator Ruchi ma'am and Session Planner Krishna ma'am for giving me an opportunity to present a report on a great leader, Professor Sanjeev Marwa, Director, JK School, Business School, Gurugram, Haryana, on the occasion of ATAL FDP program organized by Gurukul Kangri, Vishwavidyalaya, Haridwar. Dr. Sanjeev sir has given an important talk on topic preparing action plan for change. Really, this present topic has much more importance from leader point of view. In this session, sir has discussion on vision and action. There is no leader without action plan and vision. Also told that how change management is a systematic approach to leading with change, both from the perspective of an organization and on the individual level. Also added the context of change such as power, time, scope, capacity, readiness, capability, preservation, and diversity. Also given a new view of importance of Fisher's transition curve, events change model, unfreeze, change, and refreeze with a lot of active participation of participants. Professor Supriya Sehgal, ma'am, from the JK Business School also discussed about 16 personalities test and focused on outcome-based education. Porter's change model and case study with example has illustrated the importance of change. Bloom's taxonomy shared the vision. 55 job roles from the future have showed increase in urgency for the change. Faculty perception, industry perception cleared the sense of urgency. Also explained the importance of its implementation, powerful coalition and feedbacks, managing skills and challenges in the implementation. Dr. Marwa sir and Supriya ma'am has taken such a wonderful session in this FDP, having central theme of change and action plan. Now, at this moment, I recalled one sentence from Bhagavad Gita, in which Lord Krishna says, "Parivartan sansar ka niyam hai." That is, the change is essential and must. I am thankful to Dr. Sanjeev Marwa sir and Supriya ma'am for their wonderful session with huge activity-based learning to keep all participants active throughout the session and motivating them. With this, over to Chairperson Dr. Ramesh sir for summarizing session. Thank you. Dr. Ramesh sir.
Thank you, Gajanan. Definitely, we had another wonderful session. Definitely, people used more. Professor Sanjeev Marwa, you explained the change management, how the change management play a very important role in academic industry. Definitely, people has to change. Well, most of you are aware about that. From your Newton examples itself, changes is inevitable. Changes is the constant in the modern world. So everybody has to update the change, and based on the change, they have to change their goal, and they have to work further. Definitely, once again, I thank Professor Sanjay Marwa for this wonderful session. Definitely, I assure that people use that. And again, I like to thank Supriya for his talk about OBE. Definitely, Washington Accord, NB, all the accreditation body of the world, insists us to implement outcome-based education. From Supriya point itself, people are aware that how the outcomes are assessed, and how to derive the outcome, what is the role of stakeholder to fix the outcome of the courses, and everything more important. So definitely, all the participants gained more information from the representation itself, and definitely I assure that this is one of the most interactive session. I think how this technology support us to do this session like physical. And I like to thank Pankaj Madan for this wonderful opportunity to act like a chairperson of this session, as well as I thank Ruchu and NAC advisor for coordinating this session, as well as I thank Krishna Priya for wonderful organization. I hand over the session to the session planner. Thank you once again, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I express my sincere gratitude to all of you for being the part of this wonderful session. I hope you all must have enjoyed the session. Now we'll have a 1 hour lunch break, and after that we will resume our third session at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all.